Vincenza.
Pronto, Randy, and welcome everyone to the 23rd episode of our Pronto podcast. And it's been a long time.
Yeah,
How about that for you?
I'm so excited to be with you again.
I know, it's been too long.
Right?
We've been very busy, that's why, but we're back. Happy 2024. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to our lifestyle podcast called Pronto, where we talk about everything that life has to offer. That's could be inspiration, fashion, self-care, motivation, stories, and most importantly, giving so many influential leaders and individuals a chance to tell their story. And I think that's what's so special about this podcast.
Yeah, creative people.
Yes. Oh, yes. Creatives,
Yeah.
right? Creatives. And we do have the honor of getting to know so many people. I mean, we're on the 23rd podcast. So before that, 22, we've had the opportunity and honor to interview and showcase 22 dynamic, talented individuals on this podcast. So if you haven't had the chance, go visit on Spotify or all major platforms that you can check out a podcast. You can even watch us as well, because we do video as well. And you can listen and watch and learn about all the dynamic people we've had on our show and just how much we have taken from them as far as learning. And we've received so much great information and made some great connections.
If you know somebody that's amazing,
Yes.
Email us and we'll have them as a guest.
Great idea. Yes. For 2024, we are always looking for some dynamic guests. So definitely want to join us. You can contact us via our Instagram. And I'm sure we'll be able to there's the email, Curry. You can put currymanager@gmail.com right at the bottom and scrolling right at the bottom. So if you miss it, just wait a little bit and it'll come back again, and just shoot us an email. If you want to be on our show, we would love to feature. We love to feature so many incredible people. But if you're interested, we're always looking for guests.
Yes.
And also new to 2024, we're looking for sponsors. So if you want to sponsor a show, definitely contact us via social media, or you can contact that email address that's scrolling down at the bottom, currymanager@gmail.com, if you're interested in sponsoring a show and being featured. I highly recommend it because we do have some wonderful people that we interview, but also our followers. It's growing every single day.
Yeah. Tell our listeners that we've been in Delaware today as a podcast.
Oh,
right?
yes, that's right. Okay, do we have a little glimpse of our feature in the Delaware Today magazine, which is a Delaware-based magazine? If you don't know, you should pick up one of the issues. It's for the 2024 January issue. And it actually came out like a week before the New Year's. And I'm a subscriber of Delaware Today magazine, so I was able to get my hands on it. And I was so excited to open up to our full page spread ad. Look at that. The face of Pronto, a conversation of life. I love it. Such a great photo.
And major networks are after us to be on their shows.
Yeah, so definitely reach out if you're interested in sponsoring, or you would like to be a guest on our show. We are always looking. But that's such a great shot. And I have to give credit to the photographer that took that phenomenal shot. Jessie Lynn Palumbo of Jessie Lynn Palumbo Photography. She was the one that was able to capture that image. She's absolutely amazing person, individual. Like, she's just all around just a great spirit. And
she was a guest.
Yes, she was also a guest. That's right. She was also a guest. She is a former Miss New Jersey, USA, and she just gets it. I mean, she understands what it is to be in front of the camera, but more importantly, behind the camera, taking the photos. And she just gives such a total experience. So I highly recommend, if you need new headshots or you want to photograph for your own personal brand or your business, because I've used her for my business with my restaurant. So she is very diverse in her skill set, and she just has a great eye for it. So definitely contact Jessie Lynn Palumbo Photography if you're interested in a great photographer. And she's not far from here.
She's with child, right? She's pregnant.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's right. Yes, she's pregnant. She looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
So if you follow her on Instagram, she's been very open with her journey, and she looks so beautiful.
she's
Oh my,
beautiful.
she's
Yeah,
glowing.
yeah.
She's actually the official sponsor of the Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant, and my title holders, Noah Mills, which you've met,
Yeah.
and Molly Lavelle, my Miss Delaware USA 2023 and Miss Delaware Teen USA 2023. They will be shooting with Jessie Lynn for their final photo shoot for the cover of the program book and their final photos
They're both
for the reign.
dynamic women.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes, they are. They're so incredible and so accomplished, so beautiful, but beautiful in inside and out.
Right.
They really are. Just their hearts are so genuine, and they're hardworking and they're smart. And, again, beautiful, but it's for me, it's the inside that counts, and their hearts are just so genuine. And I'm so fortunate that I've been able to have such a successful year with them. But as we're winding down, the year is coming to an end, which leads me to the next thing. We are promoting the 2024 Miss Delaware USA and Miss Delaware Teen USA pageant, which will be held April 28th. Mark your calendar, Randy. I want you there.
Well,
April
it's not
20th.
my birthday. Yes,
It's
this
not.
year.
It's not your birthday. That's right. It's April 28th. For more information, visit MissDelawareUSA.com. But we also have opened applications. So if you're interested in joining the sisterhood and being a part of the experience, just visit MissDelawareUSA.com. Get your application in before it's too late, because we are accepting applicants, and join the sisterhood. Be a part of the change, make an impact in your community. And again, it's all about just coming together and really making a difference.
This is our second year sponsoring hair and makeup and, skincare, but we really enjoyed it.
And we are so grateful for that.
Yeah.
My title holders have had the opportunity to take advantage of the amazing sponsorship that Curry Hair Skin and Nails donates to the title holders, the state title holders, these 2 state winners every year. And they love the services. I mean, they feel like true queens when they show up to your salon. They feel like you roll out the red carpet for them. They have their hair done, their makeup, their nails. I was told by 2 of my Miss Delaware USAs that have taken advantage of the nail services that you have a top-notch level of service for your nail techs, from your nail techs. They swear that it was the best manicure and pedicure they've ever had. So that speaks volumes.
Thank you.
Of course. But we're very fortunate to have you as a support system and a sponsor to our title holders. So very exciting. So other than me talking pageant, what have you been up to, Randy?
I'm getting started on my last semester to get me my associate's degree tomorrow, and I'll graduate in May. And then I plan on going after a bachelor's degree. So,
excellent.
yeah.
That's awesome. And I love hearing updates about your journey in school. And this is a testament right here, ladies and gentlemen, that it's never too late to go back to school and get that education and get that piece of paper, that diploma. If you have a goal, it's never too late. It doesn't matter what age you are. And I always say it's better late than never, right?
For me, it's not going to do anything for my career or like a promotion, but it's just the fact that I have an opportunity and, I'm seizing it.
Right. Well, you never know. It could elevate your career.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Dr. Curry.
You never know. You can add, it's another, check the box, right? But you just never know. But that just goes to show that it doesn't matter at what point you are in your life, what age you are, whether, you have a family, you're starting a family, whatever it may be, it's never too late to follow your dreams.
Yeah.
It's never too late. I'm a big dreamer. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a big dreamer. And I always think dream big and think about it, make it happen, manifest it, speak it into existence. And every day work your way to it, toward it, run to it if you have to, but never stop believing in yourself. And that's important. And thank you for being so honest about that with our viewers and our listeners, that you went back to school and you are very successful in your businesses, in your career without that diploma, but you're doing it for yourself now.
And a 3.0 average.
Congratulations. All right. Yep. You could brag about that. You can brag about your GPA. There's nothing wrong with that.
Enough about school. Like I remember from that last year, Valentine's Day is coming up. The
Oh.
restaurant, that's a big day, right?
Yes, it is. So Valentine's Day is coming up. Yes, we know that it's the Hallmark holiday, but you know what? Let's change that narrative. Let's talk about celebrating love. And yes, you should always celebrate love all year long, every single day with the ones you love. But maybe on this time of the year, we can play it up even more because who doesn't love hearts and chocolates and roses? I know I do. And
Cupids.
Cupids, yeah, mine as well. And you don't have to have that significant other to celebrate it. Celebrate it with the ones you love. That can be a friend, a best friend, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, whoever it may be. Celebrate love. And yes, around this time of the year, our reservations at the restaurant. So for those of you who don't know, I own and operate V&M Bistro, located in Wilmington, Delaware, actually North Wilmington, right on Marsh Road. So visit vmbistro.com for more information if you're interested in booking a reservation. So yes, we do pick up reservations around Valentine's Day week, but we are doing something a little different this year. We are celebrating Valentine's Day, which is on a Wednesday. Mark your calendar, it's on a Wednesday, and make reservations because you might not get a table if you're trying to go out on that day. We're celebrating Galentine's Day. Have you ever heard of Galentine's Day before?
Last year.
Okay. So Galentine's Day is usually held the day before, and it's for the gals. We are doing a big party. We're going to be posting about it this week and an event page as well. We will have live music by Ryan Bacher. He's awesome. We love Ryan. He's a regular musician that performs at the bistro at our during our late night happy hours on Friday nights. I think he's the third Friday of every month for the next few months, but he will be with us on Galentine's Day, which is held the day before Valentine's Day, which is Tuesday, February 13th. So if you're interested in joining us for Galentine's Day, please come out. But wait, it gets better. You ready for this? Half off all entrees for the gals. $6 martinis.
Wow.
Can't beat that. Make reservations because we're going to fill up.
And we're talking authentic Italian food. And the best pizza in the state.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have a wide variety of Italian cuisine. If you spaghetti meatballs, chicken parm, veal parm, but we also have pizza, but really good martinis. Really, really good martinis. So if you're a martini lover, especially espresso martinis, that is the hype right now. And we always served espresso martinis at the bistro since day one. But it never was popular until the last 2 years. Yeah. Now everybody loves them and needs to have one. And it's so funny because if one person at the table orders one, usually it's like a domino effect. Everybody else wants to order one, which I love.
Yeah.
And just thinking about it, do you know, Randy, that we're going into 10 years?
Really?
Yes, 10 years of V&M Bistro. Yeah, I know. I was like, wait a second. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a decade now. Listen, I'm very blessed and thankful that we made it to 10.
And the restaurant looks brand new.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We take care of it. Yeah. It's definitely our home, and we take care of our home, and we protect it. We maintain it, and don't get me wrong, it's difficult, but we do our best. So thank you for that compliment. We appreciate that.
Any business is difficult. People don't realize what goes into it. A key person's out and what do you do? Right.
Right.
You have to find a replacement.
You pivot.
Yeah.
Right. We adapt and we pivot. That's the name of the game. But let's pivot a little bit because I am very excited to introduce our guest for 2024. That's right. We have Debbie Warner. Debbie is an award-winning, self-taught nature photographer who has developed her craft for over 30 years. She photographs both landscapes and wildlife, but has a particular affinity for scenes that feature water. While most of her images have been captured at U.S. national parks, she has also photographed in South Africa, Tanzania, Costa Rica, and the Galapagos Islands. With a goal of photographing all of the U.S. national parks, Debbie has so far visited 38 with plans to visit 6 more in 2024. Debbie retired from her 34-year corporate career in March of 2023 to devote her time to her passion. She has opened a web store called Beyond Words Nature Photography and began to market her art both online and in person at art festivals. You can see her work at beyondwordsnp.com. Please welcome Debbie Warner. Welcome,
Hi,
Debbie.
Debbie.
Thank you. Hi. Nice to see you.
Oh, so great to have you, and Happy New Year.
Thanks. Happy New Year to you too.
How does it feel to be our first official guest of 2024?
I feel so honored and excited.
Well, we are so honored to have
Yeah.
you on our show, and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to join us and talk about your passions. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So, what inspired you to start nature photography?
Well, it started with an interest in photography. When I was 7 years old, I had an uncle. He put a camera in my hands, one of those little Instamatic cameras, and really haven't looked back. When I was a teenager, my parents bought me my first real camera, if you will, where I could interchange the lenses. I did photography in high school, learned darkroom. But as far as nature photography, that came in my adult years. I used to travel a lot to Phoenix, Arizona on business. And with all of those trips, I decided that I was going to extend one of them with personal time and go see the Grand Canyon. I bought a book called The Art of Nature Photography and brought it with me, read it cover to cover on the airplane heading out there, and I haven't looked back since. So I've focused my time around the national parks and just shooting images that hopefully reflect the beauty that this country has to offer.
Spectacular.
Yes, your work is absolutely spectacular. That's right, Randy. And it just shows, you can tell just the quality of your work and what you capture and how it tells a story. And obviously, kudos to you for following your dreams. We were just talking about it, dream big and chase those dreams and run after them if you have to. And you are doing that. You are doing exactly that. You left your corporate job to pursue photography full time. So what was that transition like when you did that?
So that was quite a transition, having done photography all of this time and just really loving it and loving to share the work with people. I shared work with a lot of colleagues along the way, and it frequently people would say, "Wow, do you publish your work? Do you sell your work?" Well, I had 2 kids that I still had to put through college. I had a good solid job. I knew how hard it would be to actually make a living doing photography, and I didn't want to have to earn my living that way because I wanted it to stay fun. I wanted it to always be a joy for me. So I stuck with the corporate career. My answer was, well, that'll be my retirement strategy. And I was extremely fortunate that I found myself in a position where I was able to retire and decided to, go ahead. And while I still had time ahead of me to make that big leap, and I'm still making photography, but now I've opened up the windows to see if people love it and want to have it hanging on their wall. So thus I created my website. Starting this spring, I'll be doing art shows, and I'm even the featured artist at Griffin Cafe in Westchester,
Wow.
which is
Amazing.
right on at 111 Gay Street. So I have several of my images. So I occupy all of their walls there, and I'll be up January and February. So
That's
it's
amazing.
really starting to take shape, and it's starting to feel real.
Yeah.
You should be so proud of yourself for making that leap and following your dreams and following your passions. And congratulations to being featured in the cafe. What's the name of the cafe?
It's Griffin Cafe, and
Griffin Cafe.
it's right in the center of the borough.
I think I know exactly where it is. I've driven by it multiple times. I love Westchester. I think the town of Westchester is so lovely,
Yeah.
especially the main. It's Gay Street, right? That's the
Yep,
main
it's
street,
it's
and
right on Gay Street. They
and
make
they
8.
Ri
Uh,
I mean, they have so many great small businesses that they feature in town, and I love that. It's yes, they have some big names, but it's very quaint, as well. Like it has, small mom and pop shops that they feature, and I think that's what's so special about Gay Street is that, they're still featuring those small mom and pop shops, and that's amazing that you're
Yeah.
being featured at the Griffin Cafe, so we have
Yeah.
to go check it
Yeah.
out. Our next coffee date, Randy, is
Yeah.
at Griffin Cafe then.
Yep.
So
they
we
have
can take a
great
picture with
coffee drinks too,
Yes,
and great sandwiches, so you'll enjoy it.
so we could take a picture with your pictures being featured. So they're featured right now. They're
They're
on
up on the walls right now. I put them up on New Year's Eve
Oh,
was
wow.
when they went up, New Year's Eve morning, and they'll be there through the end of February.
That's amazing. That's so awesome. I have such an appreciation for art. We've had some artists on the show before, and I mean, you see the vision, you see like in your eyes what is beauty, what is art. And it's so neat to see your vision and how you are able to create this photograph and turn it into artwork and make it come to life. And it's even though it's a still image, it still comes to life. And you can just see from, the examples that we were showing before on the screen how detailed, how crisp and clear every little part of that, photo. I don't know if we're able to pull one up on the screen just to kind of give that example, because I would love for you to kind of just paint that picture. I don't know if we're able to pull maybe the one in the forest, a path in the forest, if we're able to see that one right there.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so
Beautiful.
Debbie, can you just kind of describe this image to us in your own words?
Yeah. So we were on a hike out actually to a lakeside, and I just loved the path that we were going down. When I'm out on a location to shoot, I'm not just taking things in with my eyes. I mean, I'm listening. The smells that are there. I kind of really immerse myself in the environment, and I'm taking it all in. Um, and I stopped for a minute and turned around and looked over my shoulder. That's one of the big things with photography. Always stop every now and then and look over your shoulder.
Mm.
And I just saw this beautiful sweep, the light off in the distance,
Wow.
and I knew I had to. I knew I had to stop and try and capture it. But I didn't just want to take this pretty picture. It was sort of the mystique of the forest, and wanting to capture that sense of what is it that's just around the bend. So I take many images before I even set up my camera. I'm looking from lots of different angles, high and low, and lots of different positions to find one that captures not just what I'm seeing, but the way that I'm feeling. And with this, what I was going for was a sense of peering into the forest and wondering what's around the other, at the other side of that bend, this sort of sense of it being a fairy forest. And I was really happy with how this came out. And I know that I've been successful when my viewers say, wow, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or I can barely describe, it's so hard to describe that. And that's where the name of my business, Beyond Words Nature Photography, came from,
It's
because I'm
funny.
trying to capture something that's beyond words.
I get that. I love that.
Both me and Vincenza work a lot of, with photographers, like in her business and my business. And, I know how hard it is to capture one image. Like people don't understand, like sometimes you have to shoot like hundreds of shots to get the one perfect image. And, depending on lighting and spectacular.
Thank you.
Yes, and I really appreciate your description on that
Yeah.
image in
Yeah.
your own words, obviously, and it is beyond words. But just as you started to paint that picture, it really it just brought it to life. And I was like, oh, I see what she's going, like you said, the smell, even though we couldn't smell it, but I almost like, oh, I understand what she was feeling and experiencing in that moment. So I have a little quote here that you said, and I just want to reiterate it, and then obviously ask you a question about it. When describing your photography, you have been quoted saying, "When I compose an image, I try to capture the sense of place and the emotion I feel surrounded by peace and splendor. I want to share with others the same sense of inner peace, awe, and excitement that I experienced when I captured the photo." So, Debbie, tell us what this means to you and how you seek to achieve it with your work.
Yeah, so I mean that comes back to that sense of trying to draw from all of my senses and all of my emotions when I'm setting up to take an image. Um, I I stop and I think about, what is it about this place that has me so captivated? What is it that made me stop and think, and I want to I want to take photos here, and really um, hone in on that feeling when I compose the image itself. Make sure everything else that's a distraction, if it doesn't add to the photo, then it takes away from it. So however I have to move myself or zoom to have it just be about um, about how, what I'm seeing and how that makes me feel. That's what I'm really trying to go for. And so have the image say more than just what you see in 2 dimensions.
Wow.
You almost can hear the water
Ye
rushing, right?
Yes,
Looking at
yes.
that photo.
You've been all over the world, Debbie, and with capturing so many beautiful images, and you've obviously your goal is to visit all the U.S. national parks, and you will achieve that. You will get there because you're a dreamer, just like we are. So you will get there. Oh, look at this image.
Beautiful.
That one's spectacular
Yeah.
too. Where is one place you recommend everyone seeing once in their lifetime?
So my answer to that question, I often get the question, "What's your favorite park to photograph?" And that my answer to that question is different from my answer to your question, which is, where should everybody see once? And that would have to be the Grand Canyon. Probably not not hard to guess that one. And the reason for that is, um, I don't think 2 dimensions, any photograph, no matter how spectacular, can capture the scale, the immensity, and grandeur of the Grand Canyon. It simply has to be witnessed live and in person to really be able to appreciate. As beautiful a place as it is, it's actually hard to photograph because of just just
Yeah.
how just how immense it is. I can't say that enough. Um, but it's someplace that everybody should see.
That's interesting.
Debbie, 2 years ago, I hiked rim to rim the Grand Canyon. I
Wow.
agree. It's so spectacular. Like, you can't believe the size and the age, like millions of years.
Yeah.
Each layer represents a different rock formation, color. It's spectacular.
I've never had the opportunity to visit the Grand Canyon, but I was just going to ask about, have you visited the Grand Canyon, Randy? And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you can speak on the beauty
Oh, yeah.
by, I've only heard positive things about people's, experiences at the Grand Canyon and how beautiful it is and spectacular. You're in awe. You're almost speechless, right? Beyond words, right? Beyond words.
It's a phenomenal side trip if you go out to Las Vegas, and a lot more people probably go to Las Vegas than go to the Grand Canyon, but it's easy to get to. That's where you would fly in and out of. So,
Right.
Vincenza, if you happen to go out to Las Vegas, build in an extra day or two so you can go see the Grand Canyon.
I promise,
Yeah.
Debbie, I promise. But now I want to ask the question that you brought up about what's the best place. Well, what, in your opinion, Debbie, what is the best place to photograph in all of, the parks that you have visited?
Yeah. So I can't necessarily say best because they're so diverse and there's so many wonderful places. But one that I always recommend to people is Olympic National Park, and that is in the northwest corner of Washington State. And the reason why I recommend Olympic is because of the diversity that is within that one park. In one section, there's the high alpine mountainous region where you can actually climb up on a ridge that gets above the cloud line. And when the cloud comes in from the Puget Sound and the clouds fill the valley, and the sun setting, it's just amazing how it lights up the clouds from above. Then there's 2 temperate rainforests in Olympic they're ancient forests with tremendous Sitka spruce, mosses everywhere. They're just incredibly vibrant green. And then you head out to the Pacific Seacoast where there's the tidal pools, there's sea stacks, and just oceanscapes. One of my favorite parks of all time.
Beautiful.
Oh gosh, and I appreciate you sharing that. And I didn't even think, your I'm asking you the question of what's your favorite park you have visited, but you're right. There's the favorite park that you have photographed, and then there's your favorite U.S. national park that you visited and experienced, which is a different experience. And I love that you differentiated the two, because that is important. Sometimes you have to go for yourself to really see the true beauty of that park, or in this national park. Oh, I love that. I didn't even think of it that way.
And it makes you feel so small, like you're a speck in the universe, right?
Yeah.
And my God, we had like 4 people in our group that hiked rim to rim. It took us 4 days. And he's saying another park to visit is Zion.
Oh yes, yes. That was on my list also of places that you have to see.
Okay,
For
very nice.
sure.
Yeah.
And we do have a question that came in from a Michael Anthony, and they said, "How do you get around? Hike, horse? What's the
So
way of, I guess, travel?"
from main place to main place, we're going by car.
Okay.
We've done camping, but we usually stay in, whatever hotel gets us as close as we can get to the trails that we want to hike. And then we're hiking the trails to get to the different locations.
Okay.
Yeah, so car and hiking. And I'm carrying around a photo pack that has, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds of gear in it. And although it's not in that picture because I took it off, I didn't want to be climbing out on the ends of that rock with 30 pounds of gear on my back. But
you stay at overnight at these
we don't stay out in the field, so we'll stay in hotels that are well located for the spots that we want to photograph. So yeah, we're not usually at the Four Seasons by any stretch.
Gotcha.
But
Well, it's always, interesting to know, because how you travel all around the country visiting these beautiful parks. Do you stay on site, or do you stay off site? Everyone is different
if we can
in
stay
personal
in the park, if we can stay in park accommodations, then we absolutely do that. Not all of the parks have lodging inside them, so we'll get as close as we can. One of these days, I'd like to rent an RV and RV around in the parks, because you can get really close. The first image that you showed, that was with that arch with the sun rising out in the valley.
Yes, that was the one I was referring to before.
So
I thought that one was beautiful.
I have a great story about this image. So this is Canyonlands National Park. A lot of people will mistake Canyonlands images with the Grand Canyon. This is outside Moab, Utah, and it's about an hour and a half, and you have to be there at sunrise to be able to take this photo. It's over an hour and a half's drive from Moab to get to the trailhead. And then it's about another 45-minute to an hour hike to get to the arch. And then you need to be there well enough ahead of sunrise to be able to get a prime spot and everything set up so you're there when the light is just right. So you leave Moab, Utah at about 3:30 in the morning to be able to get there.
Wow.
And you're hiking out in the dark. And I was with my husband and my kids, and I was at the back of the line. I caught my toe on a rock and I tripped and I face planted on the way
Oh.
out there. But of course, I was too embarrassed about being a klutz, so I didn't say anything to anybody. We get out, we're all set up, and we're just waiting for the sun to rise. And it's light enough, and one of my sons looks at me and says, "Mom, you have blood running down your face."
Oh, wow.
Oh,
But this light is real. This is what it really looks like in real life, with the underside of the arch all lit up.
Wow.
And you have this light for about a minute and a half. When the sun rises up above the horizon, it lights up the rock face, and the light reflects up underneath the arch to give it that incredible orange glow. It is a phenomenal place.
Beautiful.
And
yeah, you did such a incredible job capturing that image. Debbie, I do have a question for you. When is the best time to photograph outside?
Definitely in the mornings and evenings. So sunrise and sunset are ideal from about an hour before sunrise to 2 hours after are ideal light. And then similarly with sunset, from 2 hours before sunset to about an hour after that. Those hours before and after, what they call the blue hour. And that's when you're going to get the best color. Middle of the day, when it's real bright and sunny, we'll be coming back in from our day of shooting, at 11 o'clock in the morning, and people see us with our photography gear and like, "Oh, you're going to have a great day for photography."
Oh, that's
Like,
great.
nope, we're done.
Every time we open a new salon, we have a photographer photograph it, and that it's a magic hour,
Yes.
like morning and evening, and
Mhm.
it's spectacular shots, like the
Yes.
blue in the sky is
Mhm.
magnificent.
So we had a few comments and questions from some of our listeners. One of them was that your photography is obviously beautiful. Looks like postcards, like what you would see on postcards and they joked for any old timers, but postcards are still relevant. I think in my opinion, they are. You still can buy them. Actually, fun story. My mom and dad, when they go away on a trip, they always buy a postcard in the specific town they're visiting or vacationing at, and they send it to all of us.
Yeah.
And it's so cute.
Yes.
So it becomes a keepsake. So postcards are still relevant to the viewer or the listener that was asking about it, but they do have a follow-up question. Do you research the locations prior to arrival?
Absolutely. I mean, that's really, really key. So I'll do what everybody does, go on Google, but look at photography enthusiast websites. Always go to the national park website to check out what the trails are. Find out some places are more sunrise locations, some are more sunset locations. Get a sense of what there is. What do we want to try and shoot? And pick the trails, pick the places that we know we want to be, identify, is it a morning shoot or an afternoon shoot, and then lay out a flexible schedule. So, these are the places we want to go to, when we want to be there, and then from a location, like which ones can we group together? Because we could probably do these 3 in one morning. And but then of course the weather is always going to may supersede those plans.
Right.
Do
but
you
that's good.
shoot animals? Like if
Mhm.
you were shooting a shot and a moose came by, you would shoot it? Or
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I would say I do more landscape photography than I do wildlife photography, but I've done a lot of wildlife photography, and some of my trips have been more wild. So obviously the Africa trips and Galapagos are much more about the wildlife than they are about the landscape. But almost all of my trips, I've come home with both wildlife and landscape images.
One thing
Mhm.
about hiking the Grand Canyon, the deers walk right up to you.
Oh, they're
know,
not afraid.
Yeah, 5 feet away. It's like a buck, and they just walk by you.
Like
It's
well,
just-
you're on their territory.
Yeah.
So
Incredible.
they just their presence alone is they tell you to
Yeah.
get going because you're on their
And
territory.
after hiking through 3 days, you don't smell like a human.
Oh no, I don't think so. Debbie, I have another question for you. This year, your goal is to visit 6 more national parks. Which are those? Which are those, and what are you hoping to experience?
So in March, we're going to be taking a trip out to California. And actually, let me back up just a little bit. With all the parks we've been to, we're starting to check off the ones on the list that are a little bit more remote, that are less well known. And that's kind of what these trips this year are going to be like. So out in California, we're going to be going to Joshua Tree National Park. So Joshua Tree is right near Palm Springs, so it's a desert park. And then we'll be also going to Channel Islands. So the Channel Islands are off of Ventura, Oxnard area, and kind of like Catalina Island, not unlike that. And this will be the first time that we're doing photography from kayaks, because that's more of a kayaking type of trip. And then the third park that we'll be going to is Pinnacles National Park, and that's east of Carmel by the Sea by about an hour or so. So that'll be more mountainous, broad vistas. There's like some old mines in that area,
Wow.
and not really crevasses, but by the name of the park, Pinnacles, you can imagine there are like more narrow cave-like structures that we'll be hiking in. So that's March. And then in July, we're going back to Alaska.
Oh, wow.
And we'll be photographing bears and puffins. So there's the wildlife in Lake Clark National Park. Then we're going to go out to Wrangell St. Elias, which is the largest national park by acreage. But it's also one of the most remote national parks. There's only 2 roads that go in, and most of the park is inaccessible by foot. So we'll be doing a lot of flight seeing there. And we're planning to, I think we're to hit the 2 other national parks in Alaska, which are Gates of the Arctic and Gates of the Arctic and oh my goodness, it's just poof, went straight out of my mind for a minute there. But those are also just by plane, because there's no roads at all. Oh, Kobuk Valley National Park. There's no roads that go into them. So that'll be a day of flying. We'll touch down for, have maybe 15 minutes, a half an hour of boots on the ground, so we can actually say we were there. So some trips are less about the photographic opportunities and more about just having been there and seen it. So those are the plans for this year.
Debbie, do you need an assistant to carry your stuff?
I would always love somebody to be able to carry my bag.
I'm your man.
There you go. Well, if you're ever in need of help, you got one right here. So Debbie, we are getting near the end of the interview. Was there anything you wanted to mention that we didn't touch on?
Yeah, just real quickly, I've been saying we a lot. So I wanted to mention that I'm so fortunate. My husband also does nature photography, and he's quite good. We've been able to do this as a couple, all this, for all of these years. Our vacations often revolve around these photography trips. And I'm so lucky because we'll often run into people where there's a man by himself or a woman, and they're like, oh well, my spouse or partner is back at the hotel doing whatever. So it's so enriching to be able to do this together, and we got our kids into it from an early age as well. So we we wrote off amusement parks when they were very young and started with national parks for them, and they both really carry that love of photography and nature with them today. So that's very rewarding
Mhm.
for me.
And I'm glad that you mentioned your family. That's really important because it's a big part of following your dream.
Yep.
And you're setting that example to your children that it's never too late
And
to follow and
support.
achieve those dreams. And yes, that's the support.
Yeah.
Family support. Randy and I are all about family. We're all about family, but we're also all about
So
dreaming big.
I
yeah,
have
and
one question. Deb.
yes.
Have you ever went to a site and not came back with a photo that you were expecting?
Yeah, good question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have this. It seems like there's always a time where we will take a like a death-defying walk out onto some rock somewhere or whatever, and we'll come back and look at the photos like, what the heck were we thinking? It's just, um, so we come back with thousands of images, and if I get have 20 or 25 that I just absolutely love that are going to go up onto my website. I mean, that's a tremendously successful trip. And, their weather has a lot to do with it too. So we've been out to great locations. The weather just hasn't cooperated, but that means we'll go out there again and get to see it another time. So, I hope people will come in and take a look at my work on my website. And so I
And
think
they
you have yeah.
And speaking of your website, let's share with our viewers and listeners again your website. Oh, wait, it's right on the screen,
Yep.
beyondwordsnp.com. Can you share with us our Instagram, social media platforms so people can follow you and follow your journey?
So
It's Beyond Words NP. Is that
NP.
correct?
Yep, and that's Instagram. And then
Excellent.
Facebook is just Beyond Words Nature Photography. And
Perfect.
on my website, all of my work is up there. Everything's available for purchase. Sign up for my mailing list, and I send out emails just about some of my images, give you heads ups about special giveaways and special sales that I'm having. So I would really love to connect.
Excellent. Excellent. So
I'm going to be your biggest supporter. I love your work.
Thank you. Thank you so
So,
much.
Debbie, we do have a final traditional question that we ask all of our guests at the end of the interview. So, here it is. If you could chat with anyone from the past or present on a podcast, who would it be and why?
It would be Jane Goodall.
Mm.
Jane Goodall is a lifelong naturalist. She spent months and months in Africa with the primates, chimpanzees, and observing and documenting their lives. She is an amazing advocate for nature and wildlife, and has done a tremendous amount. And she's got to be well into her 90s now, but she's still out there incredibly active and has created an amazing legacy. So, yeah, it would be Jane.
Good answer.
Yes, good answer. Well, Debbie, we are at the end of the interview. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us.
so much for having me on. I've really enjoyed it.
Yes, of course, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, she was so great.
Yeah, amazing.
Beautiful work. Beautiful photography.
It's mind-blowing that people don't appreciate nature. Like some people walk, by a beautiful sunset and they don't notice it, right?
Right. And maybe they don't notice it at this time, but maybe later in life they'll appreciate it. But I have such an appreciation for sunsets and obviously sunrises, but sunsets can be absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah.
At the I believe in Wildwood, on the Bay side, some of the most beautiful sunsets I have witnessed, and in the summertime, like the sky is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, it almost looks like cotton candy.
Yeah.
And I love cotton candy, so that's why I think of cotton candy. But Debbie Warner, thank you for joining us. And if you would like to follow her, beyondwordsnp.com, as well as her social media, and then on Facebook as well, if you're interested in signing up. And I have to say, I don't know if you caught, there were some of our listeners and viewers commenting about my hair.
No.
Did you catch that?
No.
I was like, this. I didn't want to take away from the interview, but I do want to recognize the compliments. So thank you for the compliments to the viewers and listeners that complimented my hair. They said they liked the haircut.
Beautiful.
What do you think of the haircut,
I
Randy?
loved it.
What do you think? Is it
Yeah,
good? Is it
yeah.
up to par?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
the bangs are like sets it off.
yeah. I used to wear bangs all the time when I was little. And then I would go through phases of they would grow out and then I would bring them back again. And I haven't rocked the bangs in a long time. And I was like, new year, fresh look.
The English call them fringe.
Fringe, got it. I love it. Before you know it, I'll have a bob with the bangs. I used to have a bob back in the day with the bangs.
My haircut is a bob.
Is a bob?
No one does bob better.
Okay, then I'm going to you. So wait, have you ever heard of this is weird, but it's trending on TikTok. A Robert cut? Ever heard of that? I will show you. Okay. I know this is even out of my like age bracket. I've never heard of it, but it's not a bob. It's a Robert. Right? Okay. I'm going to show you once we're done here. But I'll show you what it's a haircut technique, I guess. I don't know. Or style.
Another thing's that trending, it's called a gray back. Have you seen them?
No.
People that don't want to color their hair.
Okay.
Let the gray come in. And there's people specializing in like blending the gray throughout the hair. So it looks like magnificent. Like it's beautiful.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I can rock that. When I get to that age, I'll rock that someday. We'll see. But I'll show you about the Robert. After
a gray back.
You have a gray back. Well, that concludes our 23rd episode of Pronto, the first episode of 2024. Thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.